Good evening and hello again. Tonight we're still in Los Angeles on the West Coast, but we're gonna share the end, let's say, of another French wine. You know, being on the West Coast, I buy wine from some places here that do not ship to New York, so I end up keeping the wines on the West Coast, and that gives me an opportunity to be able to enjoy them here without having to, do a lot of back and forth. And so I don't only drink, let's say West Coast wines on the West Coast, and there's really no reason for that. This being said, this is a Saint Joseph, one of my favorite areas, with the Northern Rhone, Saint Joseph, Cornas, Côte-Rôtie, Hermitage, and it's 100% Syrah, as are all Saint Joseph and Cornas, the red Saint Joseph. And this is by Guigal, who obviously is a just world-renowned property. You can see the engraving on the bottle. Let's just dive right into this. This is a Lieu-Dit. Lieu-Dit is like a named parcel, let's say, or named a chunk of vine land, and the Lieu-Dit Saint Joseph. So it's kind of an interesting, and you see it from the label. I guess it's supposed to be Saint Joseph. So that's all good. The naming of this parcel and the origin of this parcel, which is kind of halfway up the hill, facing more on the southwest. So I think overall it probably gets more sun. Is one of the original parcels in Saint Joseph. So it's kind of became, it had the name, I think, before even the appellation, or before the appellation was really expanded to be what it is today. So it really has historic significance. It's not necessarily the most famous, parcel in Saint Joseph. There are other places like Gonon's properties, and like some of the other, like another Guigal property that we have discovered together, which is their Hospice, Clos de l'Hospice, which actually faces Hermitage, so it faces southeast. A little bit of a different soil, more granite, although this has a lot of granite too, but this has gneiss too, so it's kind of more of a variety of strata in the soil. But facing east, it's going to be different than facing west. And let's not necessarily get into all of this today. But Guigal, as you may know, has a lot of properties. They have a lot of wine, but they also have some really special labels that they try to push forward as being special and unique. In Saint Joseph, they have two of those. They have a regular Saint Joseph and they have a white Saint Joseph, but they have two like a named one, the Lieu-Dit Saint Joseph and the Clos de l'Hospice, and they have a white Lieu-Dit as well. So they really try to kind of give them their special niche and quality in the market. This is, reasonably old vines, sort of 40 to 50-year-old vines. It's aged for about up to 20 months in oak, not all of it new. So it does get the full treatment. And Guigal does use a lot of oak. And it's something you feel in some of their wines, which is why it's often a good idea to let them wait quite a bit for the oak to be resolved. Whenever you hear about what people say about their wines, there's always some comment about oak. And that's not necessarily bad, but I don't think you want it to be too present. 2010 was an amazing year in the Northern Rhone, actually in the south as well. It was just an amazing year, I guess, anywhere in France, 2009 and 2010. In the Rhone, the 2009 was maybe a little bit more elegant, a little more sharp. 2010 was richer, fuller, kind of more hedonistic. But anyway, you're not going to go wrong with either of those vintages. Here we are. This is the end of the bottle. Just look at this thing. I don't know if you can see the deposits here. I mean, this obviously was sitting on its side, lying on its side. So look at all the deposits. Not sure if this was unfiltered, but it's definitely destemmed. I think I think it's just potentially the sort of the pigmentation that sets down, or some other stuff. And there's a lot of there's a bunch of stuff in the bottom of the glass, but not as much as you think. I think it all stuck to the bottle for whatever reason. Anyway, the color is very dark, still very alive. It's not really evolved. On the nose, you really have the typical sort of violet Saint Joseph. That's just there. There's no mistaking it. It's not as sharp in some of the other younger ones. It is sort of evolved and resolved, but it's definitely there. A little bit of licorice, kind of an undertone, and it sort of mixes with the violet to give you that floral but acidic, note as well. And it's just really very typical. It's a Saint Joseph. I mean, you can tell, because it's not as deep necessarily as a Cornas on the nose. It's not as fine as a Côte Rôtie. It's not necessarily as brutal as some of these Hermitage, although those can become very refined over time. Anyway, I mean, I think you'd say definitely this is one of those guys. And this bottle's been open for a few days, but anyway, I kind of preserved it nicely just to make sure I can keep enjoying it. This is a very full, round, warm, sort of welcoming wine. It's really pleasant from that point of view, and I think it could be the wood having been fully resolved after 15 years. It could be the exposure, they get more sun facing west. It could be just the way the élevage, it's a little bit of a mellow kind of treatment that this wine gets in terms of the vinification and the élevage. It's just really plain delicious. You've got the dark cherries, dark fruit. It's really more on the dark, plush, not super sweet, but not a lot of acidity here. The tannins are pretty much resolved, so you don't really feel them. The finish is just sort of, again, very velvety. It's there, but there's no angles, no sharp angles in this wine. And again, that's not necessarily, some people don't like that, but that's basically the pleasantness of this wine. It's a wine you can have anytime. It goes with food, it goes on its own. It's got enough character without being too heavy that you don't feel like you need to eat something with it. And it's just very, very good. I mean, these wines tend to be expensive for Saint Joseph's, but we have seen that over the years, a lot of these appellations have become quite sought after, quite expensive, and very, very good. So, I would, I don't know that I want to compare this directly to the Claude L'Hospice. I have some 2010 Claude L'Hospice, and actually I bought these, so one day we can do a comparison. So maybe we'll leave it at that. But this is really a very good wine at sub $100, I guess. It's expensive, but it's still something that you can enjoy, and you will get your money's worth. Cheers, and see you soon.